This is a continuation of part 2, Angelic Bloodlines. This is part 3, and I will be continuing the chronological history as far as my research on angelic bloodlines. Now, last time I had mentioned Enoch and the lineage that he came from, but one particular was Noah. From Noah, of course, he had Ham. And from Ham's lineage, the son of Cush, offspring of Cush, would be one as the name of Nimrod. But there is parallel connections to that of one that we would also call Gilgamesh, more from the tablets of Sumer. Now, Nimrod, of course, was the son of Cush, and Cush is connected to Noah, and we know that Noah was born, and they didn't mention it too much in the biblical text, but he was known to have a specific bloodline that I consider the angelic bloodline. Now, I have a couple of uncles in the military. I won't say the specifics of it to keep their confidentiality safe for me. I have cousins and uncles, and I've talked to them about many topics, especially my cousins. One thing that my cousin cannot touch on in his line of work in the military is he can't speak on the giants in detail, especially the condor giant, or anything that happens to do with the Nephilim. So believe it or not, more than UFOs or any other type of classified information, you'll find most likely that a lot of them, if they have any privy to it, they can't speak on the giant topics. Being that the Nephilims are very, very, very sensitive topic, because now they have been discovered. They are more real as far as in our access to information than anything that has to do with extraterrestrials, because there is, of course, hardcore evidence that the Smithsonian has been covering up. But historically, biblical history and everything, we know that if you actually read the biblical text, you'll know that after the so-called flood, there's a lot of remnants of Nephilim and giant blood mixed. As a matter of fact, King David, I believe through Absalom, mixed his lineage with the Anakim. Now, there's categories of angelic bloodlines. You have red-haired giants. Then you have more of Assyrian types. They will be more of a brown hair type. And then you have blonde hair, blue-eyed giants. One specific thing in David, he started killing off the Nephilim, because he didn't just kill Goliath, he also killed his brothers and different other tribes. Yeah, but he specifically cut the head off of Goliath. And that really means a lot, because that is to say that when you were dealing with immortals, if you ever kept up with Highlander or any vampiric movies, you already know that you have to take the head, because they know how to revitalize. They have a healing factor that's different than so-called mortals, or what we would call human beings. So when I asked my cousin about 2003, he told me that there was definitely a titan or a giant found in 2003, but shortly after, the U.S. invaded Iraq. And this titan was found under the Euphrates River. And when he was found, not like the Egyptians and stuff, because they are known to be preserved, but this body was totally intact. It had no signs of decomposition or decay, rigor mortis or anything, and it was over 5,000 years old, 9 to 10 feet tall, full head of hair, beard, melanated body. And it was still there after 5,000 years, and it was massive. And from the research, they found out that it was either Nimrod, Ninos, or Gilgamesh. Ninos from the Greek aspect, Nimrod from the biblical aspect, and from the tablets of Sumer, of course, Gilgamesh. And it was in a resurrection chamber. Or not resurrection chamber, but a chamber that preserved its body. So that's why I mentioned when they had to cut off the head. So the Nephilim, even from the ancient times, were able to preserve their bodies if they weren't killed correctly. Hence, being connected to vampires and all of the other beings that are humanoids walking the earth. They have a whole, that's why you never probably find Sasquatch bodies or other different angelic hybrids, because they are immortal. And, they specifically have to die a certain way. Of course, we know that when the wipeout of the giants took place, they were taken out by a massive flood that covered the whole entire Gaia. Now, usually in my examples of angelic encounters, we can go on to the one when Jacob, who wrestled with an angel. Then there's times of Gabriel when he was sighted as far as the Quran, to where he had wings that covered the whole horizon of the sky, thousands of eyes. So of course these are very supernatural in description. But these entities and these angels, these specific ones called the Watchers, like for instance when they visited Abraham, they were known to eat. As far as Jacob, he wrestled with an angel. But there's a thin line between myth and reality. But this one, in 2003, Gilgamesh, was actually found. So this hard evidence of giants and titans let us know that there are truth to these things that have been classified as myth. And Gilgamesh is historical, and he was known as to carry lions like they were kittens. Gilgamesh had a friend named Enkidu, who was a Sasquatch, hairy, beast-like figure that was created by the gods. And they fought at first because the gods created Enkidu to fight Gilgamesh, but they later on became friends throughout history. And when Enkidu died, Gilgamesh went on a quest for immortality. So it's ironic that when the Gilgamesh body was discovered under the Euphrates River, he was found in a life preservation chamber. So that lets you know that 5,000 years ago, they had technology more advanced than what people have today. So these titans are definitely of another realm, way more advanced. And this can also now explain why we have pyramids, things that we can't build today. They were building it then because they were from an angelic bloodline. They had strength way beyond our comprehension. Evidence of this is also there's people to this day who don't consider Hercules Greek mythology, but people who link their bloodline to these Nephilim titans like Hercules, Samson, gods, Apollo, Hermes. Even in the Egyptian counterpart is also known as Thoth, Hermes and Thoth. So they may have different names, but these are still the same supernatural characters that exist within our history. And Gilgamesh is one of the best examples. And then the Kandahar giant, who killed, from what my research tells me, over 10 to 11 special forces. I don't know if they were Rangers or Marines, but they were killed by a red-haired giant. And this is something that's kept and swept under the rug, but these are true stories of the Nephilim. So rather they classify them in however way that they do, we know that there is much evidence of angelic bloodlines